All right. We will go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. My name is Kevin Henry, and I am the marketing strategist for the Viterbi School of Engineering. And I'm excited today, and I'm excited that you guys were able to join us this afternoon or morning or evening, depending on where you're calling in from, to learn more about our Masters in Communication Data Science. This is an exciting program that I'm also excited to learn a little bit more about as well. And you're going to be able to hear from one of the founders of this program, Professor Neff, who's going to share a little bit more details about the program in just a moment. But before we get started with that, I wanted to kind of dive into some housekeeping um, aspects of this presentation. So as you guys are on the presentation today, if you have questions that come up, there's going to be a lot of information that is kind of thrown at you. If there's questions that come up throughout the course of the presentation, feel free to type those questions in the Q&A panel. We're going to ask that you refrain from using the chat section because it's just hard to manage both of those areas. So we're going to ask that you use the Q&A section, type in your question, and we will get to it either during the presentation or towards the very end. I think this is going to be really, informative. So as the questions come up, feel free to ask them as we're going through the information. If there's things that, you want more clarification on, definitely type that in the Q&A button, and we'll get to that in just a moment. All right, so today's program. We're going to go over just basic facts about the University of Southern California. We'll talk a little bit about the Viterbi School of Engineering, and then we're going to spend the majority of the time on the program Spotlight, our Master's in Communication Data Science program. So you're going to learn all about the program, the courses that are in that program, as well as some of the really exciting things that our students are currently doing in the program and alums as they've kind of transitioned and graduated out of the program, what they're doing now. After that, we'll talk a little bit about application, tuition and funding, and then we'll open it up for any questions that you guys may have about the information that we went over. All right. So the University of Southern California. Many of you may know, and if you don't, now's the time to kind of find out that we are located right in the heart of Los Angeles. All right. So we're about 3 miles from downtown LA. We are the oldest private university in the Western United States. We were founded in 1880. We have 23 academic schools and divisions. So we're a really large private research institution. We're home to about 47,000 students. And as you can see, most of those are actually graduate students, with our breakdown being 21,000 undergraduates and around 26,000 graduates. Our alumni network is world renowned and known throughout many different circles. We have over 450,000 alumni worldwide in all different types of fields and industries that you could possibly think of. We're also home to a very robust full-time faculty number, almost 5,000 faculty that are full-time faculty within the entire school of USC. We're also home to a very diverse student population, which includes both our domestic students as well as our international student populations. So a few quick numbers about the Viterbi School of Engineering. We're home to a little over 6,600 graduate students. We have 65 master's programs, 13 doctoral programs, and about 40 online master's programs via our Dennett Viterbi online programs. We're also home to around 38 research centers. As I mentioned, that robust faculty number, 212 of those are full-time tenure track faculty within the Viterbi School of Engineering. We were founded in 1905, but named the Viterbi School of Engineering in 2004. And then of those alumni, around 104,000 Viterbi alumni worldwide. We are made up of 8 academic departments, and those are broken down here, as you can see. Our data science programs, which you guys are here to learn more about are housed within our computer science and data science school within the Viterbi School of Engineering. And this allows us to really kind of focus in on each area of engineering, specifically related to that area. So we broken each of the disciplines up into 8 different schools, and there's a lot of interdisciplinary work that happens between these schools as well. And as you can see, interdisciplinary work that happens across campus as well with our partnership with Annenberg and the Masters in Communication Data Science. So now I want to transition a bit. I'm going to hand it off to my colleague, Professor Jessica Neff, who is going to talk to you about the communication, Masters in Communication Data Science in more detail. Just a little information about Professor Neff. She is a clinical associate professor in the School of Communication at USC's Annenberg School for Communication and Journalism, where she also serves as the co-director of the Masters in Communication Data Science program. So I'm going to pass it over to Professor Neff now, who is going to talk to you a little bit more about that program so you can learn all about the amazing, wonderful things that are happening both in Annenberg and Viterbi and within this program.
Great. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction and context about USC. Welcome, everyone. My name is Jessica Neff, and I am the program co-director for the Master of Science in Communication Data Science program. So as you just heard, this is a joint degree, so that co-director title is an important one. It's a degree that is collaboratively offered by Annenberg and Viterbi. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more. I'll set the stage a bit about USC, and then I'll tell you specifically about this program, our curriculum, and application requirements, and all those kinds of things that you might be interested in if you're considering applying. Next slide, please. Great. So I always like to start by talking a little bit about what it's like to study at USC. So you heard a bit about Los Angeles as a place to live and study. You heard a bit about the Viterbi School. Just want to share a little bit more about Annenberg and the campus as a whole. At Annenberg, we're a smaller school than Viterbi. We have about 2,300 students, 195 faculty, and an alumni network of about 27,000 individuals. What I think is really interesting about studying in this particular program is that you get very unique experiences across the two schools. So you get to experience the culture of Viterbi and also the culture of Annenberg, and there are kind of different dynamics there. And I think students really benefit from the richness of two different schools, two different perspectives, and also two different sets of resources that come with that situation across two schools. The backdrop of some of the work that we're doing in this program and some of the other, quantitatively focused programs at USC is our $1 billion Frontiers of Computing initiative that was launched recently. And so I think what this represents is just the fact that USC as a university is heavily leaning into and investing in programs like this. And really understanding that data science, AI, quantitative methodologies are the way of the future. And so this is a really exciting area that there are a lot of resources being devoted to at the university level and at program levels. USC is a top school, feeder school for Silicon Valley as well. So we have, a lot of students who are interested in going into tech or media roles coming out of our university. Also, we'll talk a little bit about LA as a tech and media hub. So you have probably heard the term Silicon Valley. You may or may not have heard the term Silicon Beach, which is refers to the kind of boom in tech and media companies that has come out of LA in recent years. So we're home to 500 plus technology companies. LA has been rated as one of the top startup ecosystems in the world. And there are just a lot of big and small companies located here. And so I think that's exciting because it represents a lot of opportunities for our students, both in terms of internships and then, job placements for students who are interested in staying in Los Angeles after graduation. Next slide, please. So a little bit about this degree program. So this is, as I mentioned before, a joint degree program that's offered collaboratively between the Annenberg School and the Viterbi School. We've been around for almost 10 years now. And so this is one of a suite of the interdisciplinary data science degree programs that the Viterbi School offers. We were one of the first. And subsequently, since we launched 9 years ago, there's been a lot of growth. So we now have healthcare data science, spatial data science, public policy data science, and a host of others. And as I mentioned before, I think what this really represents is the fact that we recognize increasingly that data science skills are applicable across all different domains of work in the kind of current environment that we're operating in. In this degree program, this is it's a joint degree. Your courses are split evenly across the two schools. So you take half of your classes at Viterbi and you take half of your classes at Annenberg. And so you're really getting that interdisciplinary experience. This is a pretty unique degree program. So I'm always, as a program director, always kind of scanning to see what other programs are out there who may be doing things similar to us. And I've yet to find a master's degree program that's collaboratively offered by a School of Engineering and a School for Communication. So I am confident in saying that our curriculum really is unique and unparalleled. I also like to highlight that this is a STEM OPT qualified degree. So for students who are international students, this is often an important consideration. And so this is a degree program that sets you up for that visa extension upon completion of the program, if that's something that is relevant and of interest to you. Next slide, please. Okay, so a little bit about kind of the goal of this program. So essentially, what we're trying to do in this program is to give you grounding in these data, in hard data science skills and be able to bring those to bear and apply them to challenges, questions, issues that arise in the fields of communication and media studies. And so really, this is a program for people who want to work in communication or media or entertainment, marketing, kind of adjacent disciplines, but want to be in a more quantitatively oriented type of position. And so this is a program that really positions you to step into those types of roles. So I also like to highlight that we have a customizable curriculum. And so this program has been designed such that you don't have to have ever taken a data science class in your life. You don't have to have a strong technical background to apply to this program. And in fact, many of our students do not come from technical backgrounds. So I would say the majority of our undergraduate majors for students that we see applying are, marketing, journalism, communication, media studies, political science, business administration, and then of course a handful of students from other disciplines as well as data science, computer science, engineering. So I welcome you to apply if you come from a background that is not heavily quantitative. However, we do have the ability for students to replace some of our foundational classes with more advanced classes if you do have, maybe you did take data science classes in your undergrad, for example. So we have the ability to customize the curriculum based on your unique background. Next slide, please. So here is an overview of our curriculum. This is a 32 unit degree program, and that is in line with all of our master's programs that are on campus at the Annenberg School. And those 32 units are split evenly across the two schools. So if you decide to join us for this program, you would take 4 classes in the Viterbi School and 4 classes in the Annenberg School. Those units cannot be switched around, so that is set. You can't decide to take, 6 Viterbi classes and 2 Annenberg, for example. So it's 4 and 4. On the Viterbi side, there are 3 required classes, and the reason there's kind of less flexibility in the curriculum is it's really important to us that you come out of this program with a core foundational knowledge of data science principles. And so the curriculum has been structured as such. So students in their first semester take a foundational class that I liken it to kind of providing the scaffolding that you need for those more advanced data science classes. Then you go on to take your introductory Python class and then move on to data science at scale. Then you have 1 elective class, and in a few slides, I'll show you some of the offerings that you can choose there. But that is what your data science curriculum looks like. And of course, there is the ability to test out of 549 and 510 for students who have the relevant background. On the Annenberg side, two of your four classes are required. So there's an introductory theory class that all students take. And more recently, we have introduced three options for a second core class, kind of depending upon your area of interest. You can delve deep into social networks. You can take an applied quantitative methods class that's kind of run as a data science team. It's taught by a data scientist from the gaming industry. Or finally, we have a new class, Advanced Applied AI for Digital Media Product Development, that for students who are really interested in that emerging area. Next slide, please. And so I won't, of course, read through all of these courses, but this just gives you an overview of some of the electives that you can choose from. At the Annenberg side, this is the pre-approved list, but every semester it seems like we're offering new special topics classes in recognition of changing trends in industry. So our curriculum really stays up to date, and we are developing new classes all the time to reflect things that students need to know as the communication environment changes so quickly, because this is really an applied master's program. So these are classes that are approved, but there are others that are available. And so generally, it just all it takes is an email to me to get one of the classes not on this list approved. But just all that to say, you have a lot of options depending upon your particular area of interest, from media and entertainment to marketing to more of an analytics focus, and on Viterbi as well, ranging from delving more deeply into statistics to looking at data visualization, to going into more advanced machine learning classes. So there's a little bit of something for everybody. Next slide, please. So this is an overview of what a sample curriculum plan might look like. So at USC, a full-time load at the graduate level is considered two classes. I really encourage students to take only two classes a semester because it gives you time to enjoy all of the rich campus life. I think what you'll find about USC is that there's always something interesting happening, from concerts to interesting guest speakers to research groups that students choose to get involved with. We just have a really vibrant and full campus life. And so taking two classes a semester gives you time to focus on your coursework and to enjoy the broader USC environment. So this is, again, you take two core classes in your first semester. All of our students kind of come in together. And it's, it creates a nice cohort effect where you really get to know the other students in the incoming classes. Then you move on to take an elective in your, second required data science class. Many students choose to pursue an internship over the summer, though it's not a requirement of our program. We don't place you in an internship, but we do have two really robust career services teams that you can utilize, one at the Viterbi School and one at Annenberg. So we've had students get some, pretty great internship and job placements with the support of our career services teams. And then you'll see how you round out those requirements in your second year. It is possible to take a maximum of three classes a semester. That is approved after your first semester in the program, where you've demonstrated solid academic performance. Then I will approve up to three classes a semester. So it's just a little bit about the curriculum and the cadence of the program. Next slide, please. So a little bit about admissions. One of the most common questions I get is, what are you looking for in your applications? How competitive is it? So on the right-hand side, you can see an overview of our application funnel. So our incoming class has been in the neighborhood of 60 to 70 students over the past few years. And so that will probably be the similar incoming class size that we're targeting for next fall as well. We do not require the GRE for this program. So even if you've taken the GRE, I wouldn't even recommend that you include it with your application. For equity reasons, it's not even something that our admissions team will be looking at. So you don't need to worry about the GRE. One requirement that we do have that is unique to this program when compared to other programs at Annenberg is you need to have taken two college level math classes and earned a minimum grade of a B or equivalent or better. We generally recommend a statistics class and a calculus class as those to fulfill those two requirements. Sometimes other classes can meet this criteria. Maybe you've taken some data science classes or things like that. So I always recommend that if students have questions about whether or not their classes meet our criteria, you can email me and share syllabi, and I can provide feedback on that. It is possible to apply even if you haven't fulfilled this requirement. If you have classes that are in progress, maybe you're taking one right now, or you're going to be taking one in the spring semester, um, it's possible to have a conditional admission if you have an otherwise strong application. And so if you're in that situation, email me because I keep a list of those students who are in that situation. So we're looking at those college level math classes. Some of the other things that we're considering in our admissions process. So undergraduate GPA. We of course are looking at your global GPA, but then we also go in and look at your performance in relevant classes for this degree program. So specifically, we want to look at any quantitative classes that you've taken. And then also, on the Annenberg side, we're particularly interested in your performance in writing intensive classes. Our Annenberg classes are all seminar style. That means you're never going to have a class that's probably with a few exceptions, more than in the neighborhood of 20 to 25 students. There's a heavy expectation for writing and public speaking. And so, we're looking to see how you did in classes that have that sort of an environment. You are required to submit a statement of purpose for this program. The most compelling statements of purpose give us a sense of who you are as a person. They're not just a restatement of your resume. You will submit your resume or CV as part of your application, but the statement of purpose is really your opportunity to, again, show us, demonstrate fit, why you think this program is the best program for you, given your academic and professional goals, and anything unique you want to highlight about yourself or your journey, academically or personally. I always also like to emphasize, please don't use AI to support the writing of these statements. It's very clear to us when we read statements that are written or heavily edited by AI. And so we want to hear your authentic voice. So, keep that in mind when you're crafting a statement of purpose. For our international students, we do require a language test for students who did not attend a U.S. undergraduate institution. If you are an international student and you did attend a U.S. undergraduate institution, you do not have to submit the language test. But this gives you a sense of the scores that we're looking for, kind of benchmark scores, global 108 on the TOEFL or 7.5 on the IELTS. And then we're looking specifically at those writing and speaking scores because those are, really important and, help us gauge your potential performance in the Annenberg seminar classes. Next slide, please. So just highlighting some of the faculty. These are some of the core faculty on the Annenberg side who teach some of our core classes, myself included. So just some of the faces that you might expect to see on campus if you joined us in the fall. Next slide, please. So a few final things on admissions. A writing sample is not required for this application. It's optional, but if you submit it, it's something that we will review as part of our admissions process. We do require one letter of recommendation. And so in terms of thinking through, what that should look like, the letter of recommendation should come from somebody who knows you well. So even if you made an A plus, but it was in a 200-person seminar class, that's not the best professor to write a letter of recommendation for you. It really should come from someone who you've worked with closely, who knows you well, and can speak to your unique, strengths and abilities. So that could be someone, a faculty mentor or advisor. It could be someone that you worked with very closely in an internship for a long period of time. So really be thoughtful about who you ask for your letter of recommendation. It's important that we see the legitimacy of that letter, that it's on official letterhead with a digital signature, that you're providing contact information for that individual so that we can follow up if we need to. While we only require one letter of recommendation, some students may choose to include two in their application. And again, if you include more than one letter, we will read it. We will read, two letters of recommendation if you put those in your application. Next slide, please. these are some links to virtual tours. So you can find these on our website. I like to include them in this presentation because take a screenshot, go visit these links, take a look around. I think it's fun to kind of get a sense of what it feels like to move through the spaces at USC. The picture I have on this slide is taken from the top floor of our Wallace Annenberg Hall, one of the primary buildings for the Annenberg School. We have a three-story digital screen there, and in this lobby is where we have a lot of exciting events, often hosted by our dean, Willow Bay, who brings in a lot of interesting, high-profile speakers to talk with our students on a regular basis. Next slide, please. So here are some of the organizations where students have gotten involved in recent years. These are largely more research-oriented organizations. And so, just highlighting a few here, GRIDS is Graduates Rising in Data Science. It's a student organization hosted out of Viterbi for all data science students. And students from this program have been heavily involved in the past. And one of our students was even the president a couple of years ago of this organization. At Annenberg, we have a number of interesting research institutes. One I'll highlight is the USC AI Trust Center, which we just launched this year, as well as others. And Annenberg also has over 1,000 student organizations. So there really is something for everyone. In addition to academic opportunities, I have talked to students who've gotten involved in dance groups and the chorus and other sorts of, volunteer-based organizations. So there are just a lot of opportunities to get involved and enrich your program experience outside of the classroom. Next slide, please. Here's just highlighting a few logos from recent job and internship placements. Our students end up at a range of different types of companies from, large companies you've probably heard of like Meta or, Fox Digital, Deloitte to, some smaller startups. So I think what's really great about this program is it is pretty flexible and can position you for a wide range of different types of roles and different types of organizations. And also, if you would like to talk to some of our alumni, reach out to me after this session. I can put you in touch with alumni who can tell you a little bit more about their experience and kind of how it prepared them for the jobs that they are in now. Next slide, please. I think that might be my last one. Yep, that's my last slide. So I'll pause my portion of the presentation here. I've got my email address shared on the screen, and I would encourage you to reach out to me if you have any questions that, maybe after the session, you didn't get them answered today, or you want to talk about your unique circumstance, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. All right, Kevin, I'll turn it back over to you. And I know we have some questions that have come up in the chat as well. So.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This is super informative. And I actually have a couple of questions that I'll ask towards the end as well. So we're going to dive into some of the application deadlines. Again, this is just for you to know what's coming up. You're going to get copies of these slides. So if there's any link or any information that you didn't get a chance to take a photo of or a screenshot of, don't worry, you'll get this at the end of the presentation. And so you'll have all of these slides for your reference to be able to go back and explore some of these amazing links that were provided in the presentation. For our application deadlines, so this is good to start thinking about what's coming up and when you need to start working on things. So very quickly, the easiest answer to that is you want to start working on it now. If you're looking to apply for fall of 2026, our first deadline is December 15th of this year of 2025. So it's coming up in a couple of months. And this is what we call our scholarship deadline. One of the ways that you apply for scholarships within the Viterbi School is just to submit your application by the deadline. There isn't any extra boxes that you have to check, or you don't have to notify us in any other way. You just submit your application for admission by the scholarship deadline, and we will automatically review it for all of our internal scholarships that we offer. These range anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 in tuition-based scholarships that are directly applied to your student fee bill upon admission, and you'll be notified if you receive any of those. It's really good to go ahead and just get it in by that deadline because you never know what you may qualify for. There's tons of money that is there that is available for all different disciplines within the school. And so we're actively looking for students that are studying data science, that are studying communication data science, so that we can, apply some of these scholarships and you may, qualify for them. Our final deadline is January 15th, and this is definitely something that we want to note. One of the things that we find is that sometimes when you start to work on your application and you're in the throes of it, and if you're already in an undergraduate program right now, and you're going through finals and things are getting hectic, sometimes you find that you can't meet that deadline of December 15th. Not to worry, our final deadline is January 15th. And many students take advantage of that if they find that they need the time of the winter recess to really kind of focus in on their graduate school application. That is a great time to start to work on it as well and finish it up and get it in before the January 15th deadline. So you have two deadlines to work with. And once again, I say it's best to start working on it now. And do it little by little. There's so many different components to the application that um, you know, require your attention. So it's best to take it little by little and kind of chip away at it instead of trying to do it all within a day or within a weekend. Really take some time to write that personal statement. And as Professor Neff said, they really want to know who you are. So take some time to do that. Have some of your friends or colleagues or professors read that statement of purpose and make sure that it's kind of your best foot forward in regards to who you are and why you want to do this program. In the next part, we want to talk a little bit about our tuition, just to give you an idea of how much things cost. And this is another reason why it's important to possibly get that in before that scholarship deadline, to help offset some of these costs. So for our academic 2025-2026 year, this is the per unit rate. And as you can see, this is the cost of a 3-unit course and the cost of a 4-unit course. So you're able to kind of do some of the math. As Professor Neff stated, full-time enrollment within the program is 2 courses per semester. And so you're able to kind of see what that will cost per semester. Any, semester, if you want to possibly take 3 courses, as she mentioned, which is not necessarily recommended, but you can petition to do later down the road, you can kind of see what that breakdown would be as well. All right. If you want more information about tuition, funding, scholarships, there's a link that is on this slide that you can kind of do some of your own research on and see what's available to you out there. Another awesome, scholarship and funding option that I wanted to spend some time on is our U.S. military and veterans funding that we offer. Again, they range from $5,000 to $20,000 in tuition that we give to either active duty military as well as our veterans. We have unlimited yellow ribbon awards for our veteran candidates, and so you can kind of see what that breakdown is. Any student that this may apply to, I would highly recommend that you spend some time on our website and really get to know what the options are, what's available to you there, and what is required for you to apply for those scholarships and funding opportunities. All right. So now the good part, we want to get to some of your questions. As Professor Neff mentioned, there were a few questions that popped up in the chat that I saw as well. So I'll go ahead and switch to those and then see if there's any other questions that you guys may have. All right. So first question, how big are the classes? So I'll pass that off to Professor Neff and see if she can give you some more information on what the class sizes are typically.
Sure. And yeah, I answered one about internships, so that's in the answered pile. So class size varies across the schools. I would say the Viterbi classes, you'll be anywhere from 60 to 100 students. They're going to be a larger classroom experience, generally speaking. At Annenberg, all of our classes will be more in the neighborhood of 20 to 25 students. The one exception is that data science for communication and social networks class, we usually have that capped at 50 students. So kind of slightly different experiences across the two schools just based on the different types of content that we're teaching. And our class is typically in the evening. So most classes are in the daytime. The exception is a number of our Annenberg electives are offered in the evening. Many of those are taught by adjunct faculty who are working in industry, so they're offered, after the workday. But almost all your data science classes will be during the daytime, as well as your Annenberg core classes as well.
Awesome. About the internship question as well, I think Professor Neff, made a really good point in the presentation to highlight the resources that are available to our students. I think you guys have a really unique opportunity to tap into both of those resources. You have the career services that are offered within the Annenberg School. You have the career services that are offered within the Viterbi School. You also have a career office for the Central University. So in essence, you have three different spaces to tap into resources that can afford you internships, full-time employment offers, and really, I mean, everything from getting your resume reviewed to speaking with a career specialist on different opportunities and how to negotiate salary, if you're thinking about full-time offers. And so and some of the recruitment that I've done, this is really, really unique to USC to have that many resources at your fingertip. Most schools don't really offer that. So it's something that, I really, really pride us having at USC, just the attention to detail that you're able to get that Annenberg resource as far as the connections that they have through the Annenberg School, connections that we have through the Viterbi School, and then our Central University. And so there's a lot of opportunities there for you to explore the what next part of this pipeline as you're finishing up your degree, as you're looking for internships, what happens next? I think there's so many places for you to really explore that and what that means for you. And, I can definitely say that they really sit with you and work through not just what's next, but what is the 5-year plan? What is the 10-year plan? What is the end goal? Where do you eventually want to do? And really helping you structure a path forward. So I think that's something that is pretty unique to USC, and I really enjoy talking to our students about. Professor Neff, I wanted to kind of ask you, what would you say, there's, like you mentioned, there's a lot of different data science programs that are out there, but what is something about the data science program that you think sets this program apart from other data science programs and really is kind of the your favorite thing about the program and why a student should really do this program?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think, there are a lot of generalist kind of data science programs out there. I mean, we have one at Viterbi, the Applied Data Science program. And so I think what's really unique about this program is it is tailoring data science to very specific domains. So, if you are someone, like I said before, who wants to work in a role in communication, media, marketing, right, those kind of related disciplines, but you want this quantitative approach, this is the program for you. And so I think that's pretty unique about what we offer in as we compare to looking at kind of more general, kind of interdisciplinary or applied data science programs, of which there are now many across a lot of top tier universities. But I think this domain specific data science programs that we have at USC, this is, one of a host of them that I mentioned are pretty unique.
I agree. I think, it's almost like the perfect marriage, communication with data science. I think a lot of companies that are looking for people with a data science background, when you add that communication on there as well, I think it definitely sets you apart in a different way where, there's certain soft skills, there's certain things that a lot of companies are looking for, but also that technical background. And when you put those two together, I think you really become extremely marketable in whatever industry that you want to go into. And as we kind of look ahead, I mean, the data science field and industry, it's something that we're seeing kind of happen and be integrated into all different industries. So I think, students that are interested in this are making a good choice. There's going to be a lot of opportunity and longevity as we look ahead into the future.
And I'll just add, one point in line with that. This program's been around for almost 10 years now. And so when my first couple classes of graduating students were seeking jobs, there was a little bit of a challenge of kind of developing their personal brand and narrating how they fit into an organization. Fast forward to almost 10 years later, and people immediately see the value of somebody who has this kind of a skill set, and the types of roles you can apply to are very clear. And to the point that Kevin made, I think the ability really to story tell around data, to create compelling narratives with numbers, is something that not a lot of people can do. A lot of people have quantitative skills, but the marrying of the quant and the qual, the soft skills and the hard skills, I think is also really unique. So, yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. As someone, I work with a lot of data, and that's, once you're looking at data and you're looking at numbers, what the first question we ask, what is the story? What can we tell from it? And how do we tell that story? And so I totally agree with you. And that's the kind of X factor I think that most companies are looking for. Data is data is data. But what is the story that it tells, and how can you convey that? And so I think it just holds so much value. So awesome. Are there any other questions? All right. If not, we'll move to the last slide. This is some more just links, some really helpful links. If you can get to campus, I really highly encourage you to try to get to campus and take a tour. I think both schools, Annenberg and Viterbi, have some really beautiful buildings and really awesome spaces that our students are working in and studying in. And so being able to place yourself in that physical environment is key. I know Professor Neff mentioned that there's always something happening on campus, and I definitely second that. Just walking around, there is a buzz of energy on this campus, and so if you can actually get here, I would encourage it. If not, there are alternatives to visiting campus, and so there's a couple of virtual links that you can check out and kind of see what the buildings look like and see what the spaces look like, which I think would be really impactful for you to do. Of course, there's links to apply, and just continue to explore. As I mentioned before, you're going to get a copy of these slides. And so there was another link that Professor Neff had provided that also gives you some of those virtual tours of the Annenberg spaces, which I think is extremely important for you to also go back and explore and continue to look at things and see if this is going to be the best fit for you. Are there any other questions? Any other last thoughts, Professor Neff?
I don't think so. I think we've, thrown a lot of information at you. So I just encourage you, if a question comes up after the session, please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly, or, to the admissions office at Viterbi for any specific questions. So I'm a good person to talk about curriculum and careers. If you have a question about, specifics of the application process, that's a Viterbi admissions contact. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. This has been extremely informative. It's great to learn more about our programs and just take a deeper dive. I hope that everybody that has attended found value as well, and that this has helped you in your continuous process as you're looking at graduate programs. I think this program is an amazing program, and is a great option as you're looking to continue your education. As she mentioned, if there are any other questions, you have all of the links within these presentations to kind of reach out and continue to explore and connect with our faculty and with our admission office, and let us know what you need so that we can get your application in and help you along this journey. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We're going to end the presentation here, and we hope to hear from you and see your application soon.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Take care.